Every JoJo's Bizarre Adventure stand explain.
When it comes to JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, the first thing people think of has to be opposing. And in a distant second comes stands, psychic extensions of JoJo's character's fighting spirit. Stands come in a wild variety of forms, powers, and styles.
Damn, this motherfucker gripped his face like crazy.
Cell phone tower. Stands are weird, man. Real quick, I'll be referencing stands from all of the seasons of anime, so if you're not caught up with part 5, you may encounter some spoilers.
Fuck
to keep
it.
it simple, stands are visible manifestations of individual life force caused by an alien meteor virus. Okay, yeah, that's a lot up front. So let's start things easy with a little bit of history. So it all began 50,000 years ago when an alien meteor crash landed in Greenland, as they do. Some say it intentionally landed on Earth, drawn by the strength of human will.
Wait, so that's like, I think I've seen this. This is the first episode, right?
It was just an aimless piece of space junk. Either way, it carried an extremely deadly alien virus. Around the Middle Ages, a man
No, I'm thinking of the mask.
power like that of the gods, gathered some of the meteor fragments and carved arrows from them. He had a lot of time on his hands. These arrows carried the virus, and almost everyone who came in contact with it died. For the few who survived, the virus unlocked a latent supernatural ability, a stand. In 1986, an archaeological research team in Egypt unearthed these ancient arrows. Unfortunately, Diablo was a member of that team. We have no idea what Diablo was doing on an archaeological dig, and if we did, we'd probably be dead. I'm not trying to mess with the future boss of Pashon, all right? We do know he stole the 6 arrows found, kept one, and sold the rest to Enya the Hag. Why is it in her name that she's the Hag? Like, from there, they scattered all over the world. Of the 6 known arrows, only one has a beetle symbol, the Requiem arrow. Requiem? Requiem? I've never known how to say that.
Rectum.
Right.
Requiem.
Requiem. It's Requiem. If a stand is pierced by this arrow, they'll evolve into their Requiem form for as long as the arrow remains part of them. Some people who get hold of arrows like Diablo and Popo, or the Nijimura brothers, intentionally use them to unlock as many stand users as possible. Never mind that anyone struck with one who can't handle it will die horribly. If someone isn't strong enough to manifest a stand on their own, they'll still have a chance if they get healed before they bite it. That's how Koichi got his stand Echoes, which was just like an egg, which had to be like hella disappointing. Josuke is like a big buff dude that like heals things and reverses like critical illness, and then this one's just like lunch. Anyway, oh, and the arrows work on any living creature, including cats, rats, apes, and aliens.
Is that why that dog be talking and shit? Or could that dog talk before?
They even seem slightly self-aware and seek out worthy users. The stand arrows can be used many times, though some, like the one that created Killer Queen, get absorbed in the process. Arrows can be broken, but if the symbol card on them remains intact, they can still awaken stands. I know none of this, actually. This is actually really interesting. Stands can even pass down through bloodlines. None of the Joestar family were directly hit by arrows, but when Dio used one on the body he stole from Jonathan and Joestar, the entire then living family stands were unlocked.
So that is his son. Why did I see a video that CJ the Champ made saying that he had a daughter too though? Wait, what the fuck?
Joseph and Jotaro were strong enough to gain their stands, but Josuke and Holly Kujo both fell ill. Of course, once Josuke recovered, he earned himself Crazy Diamond, or Shining Diamond if you don't want to be sued. But getting a stand isn't always a life or death gamble with the stand arrow. Jean-Pierre Polnareff, Muhammad Abdal, Noriaki Kakuin, and little Shizuka Joestar, no relation, were all born with stands. And perfectionist chef Tonio Trussardi brought out his cooking-based stand Pearl Jam later in life through sheer passion for his craft. As iconic as they are, stands didn't even show up in JoJo's Bizarre Adventure until part 3. The first 2 parts are just a classic story about vampirism, pillarmen, and the ancient art of Hamon, aka Ripple. Actually, the original kanji for stands, stando, literally means ghostly ripple, probably named after the same ripple energy. On the other hand, Joseph Joestar said stands are called stands because they literally stand next to their user. Not the most creative, but I got you, dog. I feel you. Early Stardust Crusader stands were named after the Rider-Waite Smith Tarot Deck's major arcana cards. You know, Star, Platinum, Hermit, Purple, you get it? After that, Araki switched to the Egyptian gods like Horus, Osiris, and Anubis. But then Araki really hit his stride when he started naming stands stands after bands, albums, songs, and musicians.
Damn, this thing can't talk.
JoJo's was already a playground of pop culture references. Shouts to my boy, Mr. Robert E.O. Speedwagon. Best name and best girl. Shout out to American litigation though. Naming stands like this was just the logical step forward. Unfortunately, due to copyright issues outside of Japan, some of the original names had to be changed when they hit the West, in the subtitles at least. Steely Dan became Dan of Steel, which sounds questionable. Bad Company became Worse Company, which was a worse name. Spice Girl transformed into Spicy Lady, which definitely sounds like the store brand version of the stand. And the Grateful Dead became the Thankful Death. Because they're manifestations of their user's psyche, most stands don't have much of a personality of their own. If a stand has a mouth, users can talk and react through them. Take Katoshi's Red Hot Chili Pepper, for example. There's also Fugami's Highway Star and Manish Boy's...
Okay, bro. These JoJo poses, bro, like, what's up with them, bro? Why they gotta pose so fruit-like? Like, they fruit balls whenever they stand, like, pose. Damn. Like is just in my vocabulary a lot.
Death 13. Most stands are invisible to non-stand users. The few stands average people can see are bound stands like Toth, a bizarrely drawn comic book that predicts the future, or Wheel of Fortune, a souped-up war car. Non-stand users can also see the effects stands leave behind, like this handsome arresting rock formation, or like these guys whose bodies just start falling apart. Though stands can affect the physical world, they can only take damage from other stands. So the only way to attack a stand is in stand combat, or by attacking a stand's user. Because they're linked to their user's life force, when a stand user is injured, their stand often suffers similar injuries, and vice versa. So it follows that stands can act independently to save their user, like the time Star Platinum caught a bullet Jotaro shot at his own head. Then there are some truly sentient stands like Spice Girl, who named herself and offers advice for her newbie user Trish.
What the fuck is going on?
If you think about it. Just like any relationship, it takes time for stand users to really get to know all of their stand's abilities. Koichi didn't discover Echo's 3 acts until it became absolutely necessary in the heat of battle. And talk about a close call, especially when your power is an egg. Kira only unlocked Killer Queen's Bite the Dust after committing a particularly evil act. And Jotaro didn't discover Star Platinum's ability to stop time until his final fight with Dio, which was pretty convenient, not gonna lie. Training and practice can also improve a stand's power. It's sort of like any kind of endurance training. When Jotaro practiced time stuff, he got up to 5 seconds at his peak and slipped down to half a second after years of neglect. Which you'd think, why would you stop practicing that? You can stop time. Why would... Typically, it's a one stand per user sort of situation, though there are examples of users sharing a stand, like the 2 rats of Rat, that's with 2 T's, and a couple more notable examples that we can look forward to seeing in Stone Ocean and Steel Ball Run. There's also stands who swap users. Cheap Trick is a nasty little parasitic stand who attaches itself to a user's back and tries like hell to get another user to spot it there. If it's spotted, it drains the life of whoever it's currently attached to and jumps to its new host to repeat the cycle. Then there's the bound stand Anubis, which outlived its original master and can choose to possess anyone who unsheathes its sword. Once they do, Anubis can utterly control them, and if it possesses a stand user, Anubis also controls their stand. That's kind of messed up. There's also the odd case of sub-stands, where stand has a component stand with it. The sub-stand's not quite a full stand on its own, meaning the user technically only has one stand. There's dynamic duos like Killer Queen and Bites the Dust. There's also Diablo combining King Crimson's time loop and Epitaph's predictive abilities. Technically, Epitaph belongs to Doppio, but since Doppio is the best boy of all time and a submissive facet to Diablo's personality, let's just say they both belong to Diablo. So we've seen a whole spectrum of wacky stands over the years, but for the most part, they all abide by a basic rule set. Distance seems to play a major role in defining how stands' abilities manifest. Close range stands have to remain near their users, because, you know, close range. They're usually fast, strong fighters preferring direct confrontation and moving precisely with immediate user commands. Star Platinum, Sticky Fingers, Silver Chariot, Heaven's Door, and Gold Experience are all
the fuck? Why does this the first stand that I seen to look human-like?
Close range stands. As such, they're weak against stands that can stay out of reach or hidden. But because this is JoJo's, there is an exception to every rule. Cream is a close range stand with the ability to keep user Vanilla Ice hidden and out of reach. I get anxiety thinking about the Vanilla Ice fight. Like he just ate himself, and like, I don't know. Long
Cream,
range
though?
or remote controlled stands have far greater reach. In some cases, they're able to get miles away from their user. The drawback? These stands aren't a physical match for most close range stands. Reconnaissance type stands usually fall under this category because this ability lends itself to sneak attacks and spying. However, their users are left vulnerable while a stand's away doing recon. The Lovers, Hierophant Green, Sex Pistols, Clash, and Aerosmith are all examples. This stand may have range, but their powers might only work in close proximity. For example,
bro, this shit sound like video game abilities. Like, you know how like Apex, you got certain abilities. That's literally what this shit sound like.
Highway Star can chase a victim all over, but must actually touch them to drain energy. Automatic stands don't follow.
That's alright, CJ. It'd be confusing me too.
Automatically through preset instructions. They're usually separated from their user completely. Such a stand could be harmed without transferring its damage to its user, but in turn, the user has no way of knowing the condition of their stand when it's away from them. Two subtypes include far distance autopilot stands, who are extremely resilient and don't lose power, but can only follow limited or simple instructions, like Black Sabbath single-mindedly stabbing everyone nearby with an arrow. There's also posthumous stands like Notorious B.I.G. or Chariot Requiem that mindlessly
What? Hold on, they taking names now, bruh?
follow a single drive after their user's death. Other automatic stands include the Lock, Bites the Dust, and Toff. Range irrelevant stands are just what they sound like. The range of these stands has little to do with how they work. Integrated stands like Oasis, Mr. President, or Earth, Wind, and Fire are part of their user's body and can't have any range. While for time stopping or dimension altering stands like Man in the Mirror or The World, Zawado, and King Crimson, when they're not fighting, range doesn't matter. And finally, a very select category of stand, Evolved. Evolution sometimes happens naturally, the stand morphing as its user grows stronger. Each set of abilities unlocked becomes a new act, like Echo's Act 1, 2, and 3. Otherwise, an arrow can unlock a stand's potential. Killer Queen gained Bites the Dust after its user was struck for a second time. But if the stand is struck, it can evolve temporarily to Requiem form. So far, only Chariot and Gold Experience have evolved this way, with Chariot turning into an automatic, totally visible stand whose horrifying abilities make it arguably the most dangerous stand in JoJo's history. Requiem, on the other hand, became sentient, independent, and could nullify time manipulation with its user knowing. Kind of a good thing these powers are only temporary, huh? Also, how the f does King Crimson work, yo? I'm still like, it like erases time. Like, what does that mean? Oh. Can we talk about this? Stands come in a huge variety of shapes and sizes, but they can be loosely categorized under a few labels. First off, there's natural humanoid type stands. These stands are more common in earlier JoJo's runs, and they include human-looking Star Platinum, Empress, and Hangman, armor-heavy Crazy Diamond, Zawardo, animal-leaning Anubis, Killer Queen, Magician's Red, and Dark Blue Moon, and Red Hot Chili Pepper, a cross between hard-headed Dino Pachycephalosaurus and a Kappa.
What the fuck is that? What is that?
A Japanese mythological turtle-like creature. The category also stretches enough to include King Crimson, despite being completely cloaked in Chariot Requiem, Gold Experience Requiem, but not Gold Experience, and all 6 of the Sex Pistols, despite the fact they're supposed to be bullets made of metal. These stands come close to crossing over into the next category, artificial humanoids. The main difference between these and natural types is, well, like they're artificial. Though they have bipedal humanoid forms, these stands appear mechanical or artificial with plastic, wood, or metal skin, and robotic or doll-like parts. It's like the difference between an android or a mannequin versus a human. They have all the same benefits as natural humanoids stand, though they tend to lack expressions and mouths. They include Silver Chariot, who even with its armor off remains metallic, Hierophant Green, Kraftwerk, Green Day, Cinderella, Atom, Judgment, Vinyl Moody Blues, Literal Wooden Mannequin Surface, Creepy Harlequin Death 13, Ebony Devil, and Carnival Clockwork Black Sabbath. Natural non-humanoid. Stands that cover the full range of nature that doesn't resemble humanity, meaning these stands have little in common. Some have claws, some are straight up weather. Hermit Purple, Stray Cat, a user stand hybrid, and Pearl Jam are plants, but Hermit Purple looks and acts like a vine, while Stray Cat and Pearl Jam are anthropomorphic. Harvest, Survivor, and Tower of Gray are smaller insect forms. Sun is a literal sun, while Geb, Horus, and Aqua Necklace are all water forms. Artificial, non-humanoid. Stands include a subcategory we've mentioned a couple times already, bound or materialized stands. They're a subset visible to regular people as well as stand users, often mistaken for the real object they resemble. In addition to Toth and Wheel of Fortune, there's also electric outlet Bast. The Lock, which, yeah, take a guess what that is. The Giant Freighter, both strength, and electrical tower Superfly. A stand like Love Deluxe bound to its user's hair could also fall under this category. Phenomenon stands are kind of a catch-all category. It includes stands with appearances.
Bro, they got so many categories to this stuff, bruh.
So weird that they can't be quantified, like Notorious B.I.G. or Talking Head. They're pure ability stands without physical appearance, like Coom, Earth, Wind, and Fire, or Octon Baby, which allows their user to alter their appearance. Sekko's Oasis appears as a full bodysuit and allows its user to liquefy the ground. There's also supernatural phenomena, like Tenor Sax's illusions luring people in, or Adam Hart allowing Yoshihiro to slip between photographs. There's a final category that can manifest in any of the forms we've just described. Colony stands. Power is split between multiple units. This makes individual parts weaker, but there's
I was about to say.
And there's the added bonus that their user remains safe as
I was about to say, if all of them remain the same stream, that's fucking ridiculous.
long as one unit remains alive. Colonies include Bad Company's
like
Squadron
Shadow Clones,
Soldiers,
basically. Pearl
Jam, Metallica's Iron Worms, and Harvest Bees. Were they bees? Were they bees that look like little stink bugs? I don't know. They were weird. Those were weird. It goes without saying that these categories are far from perfect. Take Heaven's Door, which was originally an ability manifesting as book pages, but then becoming a floating Monopoly Man. JoJo.
What?
And congratulations, you've officially earned a master's degree in standology. And I'm glad to be totally able to bestow that degree.
Yeah, don't give that to me, buddy. I still need to watch the show, but you still got me kind of everywhere, my boy.